A very sensitive and triggering topic, but it is simultaneously a very empowering and sacred topic. And I want to be sure that I'm coming from a genuine place. So I'm going to set the intention now to speak from my heart. If you would like to join me in setting an intention, perhaps you can set the intention to receive from your heart, and just to be open to receive whatever comes through us today, because this is a co creation. Even in a recording such as this, our energies, excuse me, our energies are mingling. They're kind of becoming enmeshed, and then we are co creating this experience, and the energy is simply just flowing through me as a channel, but I'm not the one, I'm not the only one creating this. This is a co creation right now between you and I. And so I would love to create this as a sacred, safe space for us to communicate about this topic, because this topic is very near and dear to my heart. And it is something that I have had recent breakthroughs with. And of course, I've sat with and integrated the breakthroughs. And I just feel called to come on here and share and converse with you about this, because I'm very passionate about it. And I want to start off by talking about the ways that you would know that you are coming from this wounded sexual energy. This could look like so many things, but specifically, you would not be in your body during a sexual or sensual encounter. You would be outside of your body, peering down, or you would be in the other person's body, perceiving yourself through their eyes, but you would not have any connection to your body. You would simply just kind of be going through the motions. Another way to know if you are acting from a place of wounded sexual energy is if you are grasping at something outside of you, trying to fill a void. You feel like you have a void inside of you, like a just bottomless pit, and you're trying to grasp externally to fill it. Which is seeking external approval, external validation, performing sexually to receive this validation, or posting this sort of content to receive validation. This is another way. Being overly sexual, having a sex addiction, watching a lot of porn, needing something outside of you to stimulate your sexuality, needing something visually outside of yourself to stimulate this. Now, I'm not saying it's inherently wrong or bad or shameful. It's just that it's another way of leaving your body and not being in tune with your own sexual energy and needing something outside of you to provoke or stimulate it. And then on the opposite end of that would be not being able to have an orgasm. Like, you just can't. It's not that your partner or that you aren't trying, you just literally can't. And this is all coming from a sense of unsafety. You don't feel safe in your body, and so you vacate it. Anytime you go into a sexual experience, you just completely leave and vacate your body, which is totally normal, especially if there's a lot of sexual trauma in your body. It could feel super intense. It can be a very super intense experience. And so when we leave our body, it's a way of us trying to protect ourselves, because we are afraid of what happens if we stay in that trauma in our body. Which ultimately, you are safe to experience the trauma in your body. You are safe to move through it. And the way that you rebuild this trust with yourself, because that's ultimately what it is you have to rebuild this sense of trust with yourself that you aren't going to put yourself in more situations to cause this trauma. Not absolutely not saying that it's your fault that anything happened to you. That's not what I'm getting at. But it's just how your body reacts. Your body is in a state of fight or flight. So it doesn't trust you or anybody else. There's just zero trust happening in your body. And so it's up to you to rebuild first this trust with yourself, getting in tune with your own sensuality at your own pace, not suppressing your sexuality, and also not over overperforming your sexuality, like forcing yourself to overperform or suppress, but just going at your own natural pace of what feels good to you with reconnecting with your body, which could look like so many things. It could look like doing breath work and just breathing, breath of fire, somatic breath work. It could look like dancing, putting on some music that makes you feel good in your body, and then dancing and just letting your body move how it wants to move, especially your hips, because especially for women, we store a lot of our sexual trauma in our hips. So the more we can dance to music that makes us want to move our hips, we're releasing this emotion. And so what this could look like is doing mirror work, perhaps, and you're doing mirror work and you're putting lotion on your body and you're really getting into the senses. You're allowing yourself to feel the pleasure in your body when you're lotioning yourself, and then all of a sudden you get triggered and something comes up. Okay, rather than leaving your body in that moment, choosing to stay in your body and comfort yourself, whether that looks like hugging yourself and taking deep breaths to help move the body or move the energy, the trigger out. Telling yourself, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. And rather than abandoning yourself, being in it with yourself, hugging yourself, comforting yourself, breathing with yourself, and just letting the energy naturally flow through you, because that's all that is happening when you first begin to get back in tune with your sensuality and move back into a state of embodiment. All of your trauma and wounding and triggers are going to come to the surface because they have been waiting for you to feel them so that they can leave. Everything is coming up to come out. Okay, so in order for it to leave your body and you can live a more deeply fulfilled, embodied sexual life and have a healthy sexual life, you need to first slowly come back to your body and feel through the wounds and triggers that come up when you do this. And this may be something that is helpful to do with a partner that you really, really trust, somebody that you really trust that can work with you on this. Or you can do it by yourself, either in front of a mirror or just like consciously pleasuring yourself. So you're being with yourself, you're being in your body, and you're just taking your time and you're slowly allowing your senses to turn on by first just like, you know, nurturing yourself, touching yourself, getting into your body, and then consciously going through this act of self pleasure. And as you're doing this, a lot of trapped energy and trauma may begin to come up, such as deep shame or guilt or disgust or grief or whatever it is. And then just going slowly at your own pace. And when these emotions arise, taking the time to pause and nurture yourself, not forcing yourself through it, taking the time to stop and breathe and either like move your hips, get the energy out through your hips, taking deep breaths, reminding yourself that you are safe, and just not forcing yourself into anything, being gentle with yourself through this whole reintegration, because it's sacred. This is sacred. Your sexual energy is your creative energy. And when it's suppressed, when there's a lot of trauma in the body, it kind of goes dormant. It kind of is stagnant because every time it begins to move up through your energy centers, the trauma comes up with it, and so you shove it back down. But this is also suppressing your creative abilities. This is suppressing your life force energy. And so just slowly moving with yourself through this process is going to really, really help your, excuse me, your passion and drive and creativity come back online. Okay. And another great practice is when you can feel your sexual energy, which is just what it kind of feels like to be turned on. Like when you feel yourself and you feel turned on, choosing to sit down in meditation and meditate with that energy, creating a sacred space around you, and then breathing and moving your hips, and consciously you squeeze I can't remember what that muscle is called. When you're trying not to pee, and so you squeeze that muscle really tight because you're trying to hold your pee. You squeeze that, and then you move and you flow and you move the energy up through your chakras. So it's not just staying dormant down in your lower chakras and then you masturbate and it's gone. But you want to actually utilize this energy and move it up through your energy centers. Not every time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with self-pleasure or having sex or having an orgasm. But this could be a very powerful way to channel it into your creative endeavors, rather than just like getting off real quick. You can choose to move the energy up through your other energy centers and then channel it into your creations, which can be extraordinarily powerful, because then you're channeling pure life force energy into your art, into your services, into your offerings, which makes it magnetic. Then you begin to become magnetic, because there is nothing more magnetic than life force energy, than pure and sacred creative sexual energy. And I think that a lot of people, when they get into like tantra and these kinds of things, which I don't have direct experiences with it, but I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual community are entering into it from a wounded place, and I don't think that they realize it. And then you have like the weird tantra guys that are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sleep with everybody because it's so spiritual, and yeah, you offering your body to me is what makes this like, no, it's your body. You don't have to share it with anybody to be special or spiritual or sacred or powerful. um Especially because engaging in sex with another person is a very powerful energetic exchange. And then y'all kind of can create worlds together with that energy exchange. um how did I want to Where was I going with that? Yeah, tantra is not about the ego wanting to pleasure itself. Tantra is like a very powerful and ancient energetic exchange that is taking place to build worlds. If anyone else has any comments about how they view tantra, if you're well versed in it, I'd love to know what you have to say, because I'm not super well versed in tantra. I'm like, I kind of understand. I just know that I've seen a lot of toxicity in that environment, and so I never really felt compelled to um entertain it. So if anyone has any like ancient knowledge and wisdom about tantra, if you could put that down below, I'd love to learn about that. But yeah, this whole experience is about coming back home to yourself, feeling safe to be embodied, feeling safe to fully experience life, feeling safe to express yourself, not because you want external validation, but because it's just channeling through you. It's channeling through the pure essence of who you are in that now moment. Okay? And just because you are expressing yourself and your sexuality today doesn't mean that that is how you have to express yourself tomorrow. It's very fluid. You're not going to be turned on and hypersexual all the time, but you also should not be like never turned on and never feeling in the mood to have sex. Like, both of those are extremes, whereas there's a medium, there's a middle that is healthy, of like not feeling the need to over engage to gain validation, to get something to fill you up because you feel empty, but also not that you're ashamed of it, so you're keeping it down and you're pushing it away. But there's a healthy medium where you come back home to yourself and you learn how to express your sexual energy from a very sovereign and loving place. It gets to be fun. It gets to be expressive and loud and creative and bold and quiet and sensual and mysterious. Whatever it is, it gets to be that. And so it's just an art of learning what works best for you on the path to remembering how to embody this energy and how to work through the traumas and shadows that arise at your own pace in a way that feels safe and respectful to you and your body, right? I hope that I've expressed this in a graceful way, because this is very important. And there's a lot of sexual trauma on the planet. There's so much sexual trauma on our planet. I was acting out of a very wounded sexual place for a long time, and I didn't even realize it. And it's taken me the past 2.5 years to really work through it and untangle it and figure out like what expression was me needing that validation and what expression was just a pure expression of the essence of my soul in that now moment. And I was doing it from a divine sovereign place of creativity, not from a place of needing other people to see me as sexy or to want to fuck me, or whatever twisted ideas that we get in our minds of like what sexuality is supposed to be. Your sexuality is for you. Your sexuality is not for you to gain the approval of others. Your sexuality is not to make you feel like everybody wants to fuck you. Your sexuality is for you to experience in your body. And then once you find your embodied sexual expression, it's for you to choose who you want to share it with and who you do not want to share it with. But it's not coming from this desperate place of approval or from a manipulative and controlling place. It's coming from a place of true peace, love, sovereignty, and expression. It's learning how to decipher between your actions and really, really get down to the nitty gritty of your intentions behind your actions, and to just be flat out honest with yourself. There's no shame in being honest with yourself. Sometimes we're afraid to be like, oh yeah, I posted that because I wanted people to think I was hot. Okay. Just be honest with yourself. There's literally no shame in it. It's just a part of being human. And once you can bring awareness to the reasons behind why you're posting things, why you're acting in certain ways, why you are expressing yourself in this way, without shame, without judgment, just like brutal honesty, you can begin to reclaim your power. You can begin to see like, oh, I see that I was acting out of a place of needing validation to feel sexy there. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to feel sexy from inside. I want to make myself feel sexy without needing anybody else's approval. So next time I go to post something, I'm really going to tune in with myself and ask myself if it's coming from a place of needing other people to validate how I feel, or if it's coming from I already feel sexy and now I'm just expressing that externally because it's just pouring through me. Okay? That's how you reclaim your power, is to only choose expressions that feel like they are just innately a part of you, because you already feel sexy, you already feel hot, you already feel good in your body. And so you just want to express this outwards because that is what abundance is. Expression is a form of abundance. Whereas when you don't feel sexy, you don't feel hot, you feel insecure, and you need other people to give you that sense of validation. You're like, please validate me. Please validate me. You're acting from a place of lack. You think that you lack something and you need someone else to give it to you. So when you post from a place of needing validation, you are directly acting from a vibration of lack. And so you will attract more lack in your life. Your lack is not just Your lack issues are not just all about money and all about how you treat money and if you're working hard enough. Your lack issues fall into every single facet of your life, including your sexuality. It is abundant to feel innately sensual and sexy and not need approval from anyone, and then to express that energy externally because you want to share it, not because you need anything from it. Yeah. If you have any questions about this, please ask down below. This is a very individually unique journey. And so if I confused you in any way, or you didn't understand something that I said, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments, because I will respond to you either with another video or in the comments. I'll respond because I think this is a very important topic. And it's something that I just feel called to talk about, because it was something I was confused about for a long time. And I have finally found my own sense of sovereignty within my sexuality. And so I feel like it would just be selfish of me to keep that to myself when I could share, because it's very empowering to find your sovereignty in your embodied sexual energy. So, okay, I think that's where I'm going to close it, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.